Africa any favours. After the way the Test series ended up, I don't think that was it wasn't necessarily ideal for South Africa. Graeme Smith also, being out of the mix, that would have taken the team by surprise. And then, going into the shorter format of the game, you really just need to get some hours under your belt. You want as much match practice as possible. And unfortunately, South Africa are just not getting that. And, they're probably going to have to be indoors, not too much time outdoors, not even in nets. So, Faf du Plessis is going to have to keep his team really G'd up. A couple of new faces in there as well. And thinking about the Ramslam T20 domestic competition, that finished on February 9th already. So, all the cricketers that haven't been part of the Proteas setup, they've either been playing 4-day cricket, they've finished their T20 stuff already. So, preparation's not ideal. And this is a tournament where South Africa would really like to do well.
Yeah, and I mean, it would have been great to go up against Australia and actually get some game time under their belts before going to Bangladesh.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, South Africa don't have a great record in the World T20 either. They went to the previous tournament, 2012. They played 3, lost 3, and, it was against big opponents as well. It was Pakistan, Australia was there as well, and India. And, close games, but that's the way it is in T20 cricket. So, looking forward to what's going to happen in Bangladesh. South Africa are going to have to play one of the qualifiers, and that's either Ireland, Netherlands, probably Zimbabwe is going to come through from that group. But then they're also going to have to face England, who are currently in the West Indies. They just lost that series against the Windies last night. And then there's some other big opponents that they're going to have to step up against. And South Africa, history sometimes is against them, but they're going to need those big players to step up.
All right, we'll chat a little bit more about the World T20 that's coming up, because of course these games are very important for that. But we just enjoyed a fantastic Test series between the Proteas and Australia. Now these are two very different formats, the Test and the T20s. But how does that result, have a bearing on the Proteas team and maybe the vibe in the team of them actually wanting to get out there and show their fighting spirit against Australia? Yeah,
I think it was a Test series that was I think fairly evenly matched for the most part. Australia coming out in the first Test really blew South Africa away. Mitchell Johnson really lived up to the hype. And then South Africa in the second Test bounced back and comprehensively beating South Africa within the course of 4 days as well. So, going into the last one, I think the teams were really sort of jacked up. They really wanted to just focus on that game. They weren't looking ahead to anything else. And, Australia, just too good overall. They got the best of, the wicket. They really cashed in. Their batter stepped up. I mean, David Warner was unbelievable, getting a century in each innings. There was always going to be the battle of the captains in that final Test. And, Graeme Smith, in his last innings, I'm sure he would want to make it special, especially down at Newlands. It didn't happen. Michael Clarke stole the show there. And then in the end, South Africa almost survived the last day. I think they did show a lot of fight there, and despite the fact that they did lose the Test, that might be a bit of a downer. But, Gary Kirsten had an interview with him previous, Proteas player and coach, and he said, South Africa have always had a lot of fighting spirit. So there's a lot of fight there in the team, and the result just didn't go their way. So it's a little bit rough on South Africa. I think definitely they would have wanted to go into the T20 series and, not only looked at preparation, but wanted to try out some new combinations and just wanted to get, as I said, some hours under their belt, but also, a couple of wins. That always turns the confidence of a change room.
Absolutely. Well, we certainly hope that they're actually going to be able to get out onto the pitch and play some cricket. We want to see some cricket, especially when it comes to a rivalry like Australia and the Proteas. Chat a little bit about, some of the youngsters that are coming in, some of the very exciting players, Buren Hendricks coming into the fold, and what they're going to offer. Also some old guys, Albie Morkel coming back into the fold.
Well, I think those are probably the two players that a lot of people do want to see. Quinton de Kock, we mustn't forget about him. He came in, he got centuries in the previous series as well, a little bit earlier in the summer, and I think he really did live up to his potential as well. Still a very young player. He's got a lot of promise, and what I do think is that against India looked a little bit jaded, but nevertheless it was Quinton de Kock came in and cashed in on that. Then move on to Albie Morkel. Hasn't played for the Proteas since 2012 World Cup, where I mentioned that South Africa really didn't have a great run. And he's always been, he's been that great hope that South Africa want. He's there to finish the innings, and with ball in hand, he can make things happen. He has that ability. But unfortunately, for Albie, it's not always gone his way. And he's been thrust in some very difficult situations as well. Either top the order or they want him to finish. It's just never really happened. And there have been a couple of games where he's produced. And that's the one thing. Big tournaments need big players to step up. It just happens that way. And that's what South Africa are going to need in this tournament. So maybe Björn Hendricks, you know, young guys, comes with the club system in the Western Cape, and 28 wickets in 11 games in the Ramslam T20. Why not? Why can't it be his chance? Left arm seamer, special. Let's see. Maybe it's going to be his tournament.
Oh, we'll have to wait and see. Thank you very much, Gareth Flusk.